right, let's go and take a look at Module 9, Social Engineering. We've made several references to an entire module dedicated to it later in earlier portions of the course, so now it's time to talk about social engineering directly. We have been littering it in the discussion since Module 2, and actually in Module 1, we started talking about footprint and reconnaissance. So this can be an incredibly comprehensive subject. We're going to be addressing it actually in one of the shortest sets of slides in the course. The application of human deception and con artistry, manipulation, and so forth is pretty straightforward. There's lots of different pretexts or different scenarios that you could actually run through. But then the concept of manipulating the human is the whole discipline of psychology and how our thought processes work. We have some pretty core human traits that we can rely upon in social engineering. We're generally trusting. We generally want to be liked. We want to be helpful, assistive. We're easily deceived. We are greedy sometimes. We are driven by fear, afraid of losing things. And all of those inherent human psychological traits can be leveraged in a social engineering attack. So whether you've attended this course or not, you are already familiar with social engineering. Everybody has worked a fellow human in some way, shape, or form to potentially manipulate them to get a desirable outcome. We call it buttering up, or selling, or reciprocation. But we've all done it in some way, shape, or form before, but not necessarily applied it towards achieving an objective that is targeting a network for attack or using it to steal sensitive information. So social engineering, art of convincing people to reveal confidential information, or the art of getting people to disclose something useful without their knowledge. Common targets are really any human in the target environment. So in help desk personnel, technical support executives, system administrators, etc., social engineers depend on the fact that people are unaware of the valuable information which they have access to and are curious about protecting it. Now, you might actually look at that a little bit differently. A lot of times people become desensitized to the value or sensitivity of information that they work with on a day in and day out basis. So I'm going to make a couple of office space references here. So imagine we all work at Innotech Corporation and we work with TPS reports all day long. And TPS reports have proprietary information, personally identifiable information, protected health information, attorney-client privilege information, everything you can possibly think of that's sensitive. But we hand these things around freely inside the security perimeter to the Bobs and Michael and Samir, and Lundberg approves them, et cetera, et cetera. We hand them around freely inside the perimeter because we work with that data on a day in, day out basis. So we're going to not think twice about handing off a TPS report to a fellow employee if they're cleared as being an authorized recipient of that information. So again, we get desensitized, we become creatures of habit. All I really have to do is convince you that I'm an authorized recipient of the information I'm requesting, and you're going to click right into business functional mode and be happy to provide it. There's a lot of impersonation that can go on here. And we've been talking about this since the very beginning of the course. Employee information is especially interested in footprint and reconnaissance because they already have access and they can be impersonated or attacked. So when I identify myself as somebody working in a branch office over the phone or via email, you've heard my name before, you can verify in a corporate directory, but I'm not necessarily who I say I am. Lots of opportunities for impersonation, social networking sites, etc. Digital communications in general are perfect for impersonation since you never actually have to be physically in front of the person. And you can build a fictitious persona or alternate identity and be extremely detailed in responses and dialogues because you've researched the individual. So a lot to be said for hiding behind a computer terminal and impersonating another individual. All right, the impact of the on the organization, invariably it's economic losses, damage of goodwill, which equates to economic losses, loss of privacy, which equates to economic losses, dangers of terrorism, which equates to pretty much everything you can think of ultimately results in impact on the bottom line. Now that sounds all materialistic and so forth, but it's critical. Companies are in business to make money primarily. And making money, again, I've mentioned this before, allows them to perform all these other noble mission objectives and so forth, allows the employees to feed their families. But at the end of the day, if the company's not making money, it doesn't exist. So all of this will boil down ultimately to risk analysis and dollars lost, right? Behaviors vulnerable to attacks. Authority. I have a tendency to comply with people I perceive to be of authority. Intimidation. People are easily mowed over when somebody is aggressive. Intimidation tactics are forceful, aggressive statements. Some people get a little bit more passive with that. Consensus. If everybody else is doing it, I will too. Scarcity. If something is in short supply, I want it even more. Urgency. Quite often, social engineering scenarios or pretexts are laced with an urgency of some sort, which makes you make a hasty decision. Act now or you're going to lose your email. Act now or you're going to lose your data. Act now or or this is going to happen, this is going to happen. Okay, familiarity. If I find something familiar about you, then I'm more inclined to trust you. Trust is the premise of any social engineering attack. I got to get you to trust me before I exploit that trust and extract that useful information, whatever that may be. And then greed. Humans are greedy, plain and simple. Most humans are greedy. So they want something that's in short supply. They can also be manipulated for financial gains, and this leads to insider payoffs and a variety of other creepy scenarios. Creepy scenarios, yeah. All right, factors that make companies vulnerable to attacks. First and foremost, security awareness and education, number one countermeasure to social engineering. There are some statements such as, there's no patch for human stupidity. That may be a little severe, a little harsh. How about, there's no patch for lack of understanding or informedness or education. So let's start off assuming that the humans don't know how they should behave in regards to security. We need to train them first. So that's on us. Security awareness and education. Here's what to look out for. Here's somebody impersonating help desk, wanting your password. Don't give passwords out over the phone. And you have to tell them first. Give them the benefit of the doubt. People that aren't security professionals don't live and breathe this stuff like we do, right? So you would think they would know, but then again, I might not know basic accounting concepts or principles because I'm not an accountant. So you have accountants, you have operations people, you have marketing, you have production teams and so forth. Security is not their primary focus. They do other things. So they're not thinking about it. They need to be trained. But after they've been trained, then you can crack the whip, right? They're expected to comply. So security awareness and education and re-education. You're going to have about 10% of your attendees' attention when they attend security awareness and education. They're thinking about other things. Their mind is switching channels. If it's me, it's switching constantly. And then when they walk out of that training, they're already forgetting what you said. So it needs to be reinforced with re-education, retraining. And then things like regular phishing campaigns are a great idea to keep people conditioned to being suspicious of phishing emails. Now, phishing, we're going to have a completely separate discussion of that here shortly. Still hugely effective after decades. So we'll see an example of that. Unregulated access to information, decentralized infrastructure, several organizational units, and lack of policies that drives things like security training. Social engineering is effective because it attacks the human. And my little mantra is the human's not always programmed and doesn't always act as programmed. Program would be security awareness and education. Acting as program would be following what they were taught in security awareness and education. So again, we inform, we educate, we re-educate, and we reinforce. It can be difficult to detect social engineering attempts since person-to-person communication is not always monitored. So a face-to-face dialogue or over the phone, we don't necessarily have intrusion signatures for that. No method can be applied to ensure complete security from social engineering until you remove the human factor, which we don't want to do that. And no specific software or hardware. That's not a 100% true statement. We do have software for detecting phishing emails, more specifically the URLs or the links in the email. All right, phases of a social engineering attack. Start off with research on the target company. We've been doing that since Module 2. Dumpster diving, websites, employees, tour the company, etc. Select a target. Identify any old employee. They don't have to be frustrated of the target company. Develop a relationship. All right, so that could be a single interaction or multiple, and then exploit the relationship. Collect sensitive account information, financial, current technologies, whatever the case may be. All right, so we'll see a couple examples of different scripts and dialogues to give you an idea of what this might look like. All right, the types of social engineering: human-based, quite simply, is human-to-human communication. Computer-based is the use of computers to communicate, and then mobile-based is use of mobile devices, which is just a smaller form factor computer. We'll talk more about malicious apps, things like that, in our mobile module. But phishing emails, spam emails, scareware, impersonation, vishing, eavesdropping, shoulder surfing, and we're going to define a few of these terms here in the next several minutes. Our impersonation: I pretend to be a legitimate or authorized person. Hi, this is John. I've forgotten my password. Can I get it or can I reset it? Posing as an important user. Hi, this is Kevin, the CFO's secretary. Working on an urgent project, lost my system's password. Can you help me out? And posing as technical support, flipping the tables. Hi, this is Matthew. We had a system crash. We're looking for lost data. Can I get your ID and password? All right, vishing is over the phone. So calling in, requesting a password, third-party authorization. I spoke with Mr. X of XYZ Corporation, and he said you would provide me with the information I require. Tech support, again, we saw that scenario in the previous slide, but these are all over the phone. So versus emails or text messages. Reverse social engineering is when I break something and then I advertise myself as being someone who can assist, and then you request my assistance, and I assist you, but now the trust has been established by you because you've requested my assistance. So I break something, and I hang out nearby to assist. You ask me to assist, and that automatically establishes trust. Piggybacking. Piggybacking and tailgating are entering a secure entrance without credentials. Piggybacking is somebody letting you in. Tailgating is you following somebody closely through a door. Same end result, you still gain unauthorized access to the facility. Diversion theft tricks a person responsible for making a genuine delivery into delivering to a location other than the intended location. All right, computer-based phishing. We're going to look at a phishing email here shortly, and they are easy as pie to create and send. Phishing in general is an email sent out to a massive number of recipients. The phishing email proper used similar domain names, but not identical. So for example, if you had eBay with 2 A's.com, people might not notice the extra A. The human brain actually identifies the first and last letter in a word, and then it can kind of fill in the blanks. So this looks like eBay, but on closer inspection, it's similar but not identical. You're hoping somebody doesn't notice that. Now, there's also phishing using DNS poisoning. That's called farming with the PH. There's also spoofed hyperlinks. There's also spear phishing and whaling, et cetera, et cetera. So different variants on phishing. But a phishing email looks like it's from a legitimate source, but it's not, requesting some sort of sensitive information or a link that redirects you to a fake web page to mimic the trustworthy site, asking you to submit personal information like your username and password. I will demonstrate that live here in just a few minutes. Easy as pie. Spear phishing. Spear phishing targets a specific demographic, right? Users of employees or users of a company, customers of a bank, that sort of thing. It's targeted at specific individuals, small group of people or a specific person. So the phishing proper is a casting a wide net, no pun intended. Spear phishing, very targeted towards specific individuals. Whaling. Whaling is going after the big one. It's going after a CEO, CFO, politician, celebrity, and so forth. A high-level executive, and the hopes there are that you gain their access and they've got elevated access or privileged access for the entire organization. Or they've got a broad influencer base, et cetera, et cetera. Farming with the PH is redirecting web traffic by using DNS poisoning. Okay? Malicious program on a personal computer or server, which does redirect DNS cache poisoning or host file modification. Spimming, honestly, I've never played around with spimming. It's a variant of spam. Exploits instant messaging platforms to flood spam across networks. You harvest instant message IDs and spread spam. I've never even done that in a lab environment. So I guess one of these days I should set out to look at spimming just to say I've played with it a little bit. All right, insider threats. Riddle me this, what's the problem with the insider? They're already inside? Yeah. Once you're inside the security perimeter, your perimeter security has been completely neutralized, right? You're already inside. So an insider poses a huge level of risk because they've already circumvented your perimeter security. Perimeter insiders fall into different categories, or come in different flavors, I suppose. The malicious insider is a disgruntled or terminated employee who still has access, who steals data or destroys the company's networks intentionally by introducing malware to the corporate network. All right, so they've got a bone to pick or an axe to grind with someone. The negligent insider is uneducated on potential security threats, who fails to comply or bypasses general security procedures to meet workplace efficiency. Every so often, you've got the negligent or the belligerent employee that it doesn't know or doesn't care. I'm not doing that because I don't see why I should. I should lock my desktop every time I get up to go get some coffee. All right, well, we'll see what happens when you don't. Once you leave, and we'll send emails from your account, But they may not be aware of what they're supposed to do or why they're supposed to do it. That's our job, security, awareness, and education. The professional insider, these are of the nastier, more dangerous variety, harmful insiders who use their technical knowledge to identify weaknesses in the company's network and sell confidential information to competitors or black market bidders. All right, they're making a business out of this. They may pick a company, target a job opening, pass the interview, get hired in, all for the purpose of gaining access and selling off access. So the compromised insider may be somebody that is, first off, probably negligent or oblivious or unaware, insider with access to critical assets, compromised by an outside threat actor. So for example, Bob has got a Trojan on his machine. He is now a compromised insider. An accidental insider, inadvertent by mistyping an email address, sending a valuable business document to an unknown user, or unintentionally clicking on a malicious hyperlink. Which we're going to probably put that in the negligent category because they should have had phishing training at one point. All right, social engineering through impersonation on social networking sites. Again, we've been talking about this since the very beginning of the course. It is easy to impersonate on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. Falsifying your identity, creating an employee group of XYZ company, lots of opportunity for deception and social engineering. Identity theft. A lot of times, social engineers are out to steal your personally identifiable information for the purpose of getting a credit card, government benefits, utilities, renting an apartment, or filing a tax return in your name. Now, I've never had my identity stolen, but I know people who have, and it is not a fun thing to clean up after. You would think a simple call to law enforcement, yes, my identity's been stolen, Would you guys take care of that for me? You'd kind of hope that would be the case, but the reality is they don't have a budget to hunt down every identity theft case they come across. So I've actually had former students that hit me up after class. Oh my gosh, what do I do here? I'm like, well, what's going on? Well, somebody is renting an apartment in my name in Georgia. I was like, well, get in touch with the office and let them know. I've done that. They've got video of the person in the lobby and they've seen, I sent them my drive and they know it doesn't match, but still I'm not getting anywhere. It's like, wow. So it's a pain to clean up after. You have to write letters to the credit card companies, do all the documentation, all the footwork. Not a fun thing to have to deal with. So the identity theft protection options on credit cards and things like that, they allocate funds to assist in that sort of thing. Never had to utilize it, but it is recommended that you lock your credit report. You sign up for fraud alerts. So frozen credit report, fraud alerts, so that nobody can open a credit account in your name. Now I've got all that in place, and I also check my credit reports like clockwork every month just to make sure. And every so often, once in a blue moon, there'll be something that shows up that's actually a mistake and I can pretty easily get it fixed. Like the last one was I've got an unpaid utility bill in Nashville, Tennessee. I've never lived in Nashville, so that's not right. But we had a huge data breach a few years ago, one of the credit bureaus, to remain unnamed, 143 million credit records compromised. That was a patch that was a month old that should have been applied. We'll talk more about that in web applications. So that's an example of bad patch management. All right, how to detect a phishing email. Call the person who supposedly sent it to you. There you go. Best option for verifying. Pick up the phone and give them a call. Now, these days, people have a tendency to not pick up the phone. My opinion is you get way more accomplished in a quick phone call than you ever do in a bunch of digital communications back and forth. And some people might find me annoying that way because they'll send me a text and immediately the phone rings. So like, well, I'm right in the middle of something. But that phone call also, there's little opportunity for the impersonator to continue to impersonate unless they've hijacked your phone number, which is possible. But anyway, so pick up the phone and give them a call, or verify the sender information, verify the mail servers. There's a lot of times, there's two ends of the spectrum. I've seen really, really nice social engineering phishing emails, just polished and absolutely perfect. And I've seen some horrendous phishing emails like, really? Is that your best effort? Would you draw that logo with crayon and then scan it in? It looks horrible. Or the grammatical errors, right? So a lot of these are easy to spot and some not so much. I got an email one year, this had been 2006, years ago, and I just bought a plane ticket on a personal credit card, which I never do. It's always one of my business cards if I'm booking travel. And I immediately get this email from Visa saying we've detected unusual spending patterns in your account. And I was like, well, that makes sense. I just bought a plane ticket on a personal card. Please log in to verify. And I go clicking on this thing, not thinking, and it wants me to log in and enter my number. Like, oh, heck no, not happening. But to this day, I still can't figure out if it was just a huge coincidence or why they knew to send it just right then and there. So regardless, that was one of the slickest phishing emails I've ever seen. Perfect, and the timing was just impeccable. Otherwise, they're pretty shabby as a general rule, and they've got horrible grammar, et cetera, et cetera. All right, there are anti-phishing toolbars. In the lab, you're going to take a look at the Netcraft anti-phishing toolbar. And the Netcraft anti-phishing toolbar is going to give you risk ratings for various websites. So this is based on the sites that are referenced in the link in the email. PhishTank is a similar online resource, collaborative clearinghouse for data information about phishing. And then there are other installable utilities for verification of blacklist sites. All right, I mentioned earlier that phishing campaigns should be run periodically to educate your users not to click on suspicious emails. In a nutshell, if an email looks, wait for it, no pun intended, fishy, then it should be suspect. Whenever you get something that's anomalistic, your brain knows, your subconscious knows. You should never just, oh, it's my imagination, and go for it. Always verify. So I'm going to create a phishing email right now. You'll do the same thing in the lab. I'm going to clone the Facebook login page, and I'm going to intercept a set of credentials. We'll do the whole thing in about 2 minutes flat from beginning to end. All right, so the social engineering toolkit will be the tool I'm going to use for the demonstration. And then Easy Counsel, their phishing product is called OPHISH, which you do get a trial account with your CEH course attendance to launch your own phishing campaigns. And again, it provides reports and different scenarios and different setups. All right, so that's going to wrap up the module, but I do have a demo. So let's take a look at that. But in this module, we covered basics of social engineering. There are so many variations of this, it's not possible to cover every possible scenario in a single module in a CEH course. So it's all based on human psyche, deception, con artistry, and so forth. And it's one of the most effective tools in the tool chest for attacking target networks. It's easier to hack a human than it is to hack a system. All right, so let's take a look at Social Engineering Toolkit. I'm going to use, we'll go ahead and time this. Okay, it's 17:21 right now. So by 17:25, we'll have a cloned website and a Facebook email sent. I'm going to go to Applications, Pen Testing, Most Used, Information Gathering, Exploitation Tools, Social Engineering Toolkit. That opens up my menu. I'm going to get root access. I'm going to agree to the terms of service. I'm going to do a social engineering attack, option number 1, a website attack vector, option number 2, a credential harvester attack method, option number 3, site cloner, option number 2, IP address of my local system for the postMac 10.00.13, URL to clone. And again, you're going to go through all these steps in the lab. All right, Facebook.com. I have cloned the Facebook website. Press return if I understand, and now we are rocking and rolling. All right, on my server 2019 machine, I'm going to open my inbox for my alter identity. My ethical hacker burner email account, get it? Ethical hacker, ethical hacker. Huh. I'm going to compose an email. All right, to myself, ethical hacker, subject, urgent, account hacked and all misspelled. Log in to fix. And I'm going to enter a spoofed hyperlink, www.facebook.com. Send the web address to 10.0.0.13. All right, and okay. All right, send it. I've now received it. Urgent, account hacked. Oh my gosh, log in to fix, my account's been hacked. I'm going to hover over facebook.com. I don't notice the 10.0.0.13 down in the lower left corner. I click on it. I don't notice 10.0.0.13 in the address bar. I'm distracted by the Facebook login page. I'll do Eric, eric.com, and I'll do a password of password. And enter. Oops, I must have fat fingered something. Now I'm on the real Facebook site, and when I type in my username and password, this time it's going to work. And I think I just mistyped it, and I never think about it again. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, it's captured my email and my password. There it is right there. Oh my gosh, what did I just do there? Oops, and there it is. So easy as pie, and that all took less than 3 minutes. And if I had a little more time, we can make a nice, pretty email that looks legitimate. But in this case, proof of concept accomplished. We got the email and password. Nothing to stop me from grabbing that. Nothing to stop me from cloning the login page either. Now, if the website is being verified with an SSL certificate, obviously it would fill the authentication, but we didn't send an HTTPS request as HTTP, so they may not notice that. All right, in the session hijacking module, we'll get back into the whole certificates. We'll talk more about that in web applications as well. All right, so there you have it. So that wraps up our initial discussion of social engineering. But again, we've been talking about that in bits and pieces since the beginning of the course. So your lab will take you through the phishing email, will take you through the fish tank, fish product, Netcraft, Anti-Fish Toolbar. So got a few cool labs for you. So that wraps up our social engineering module. And up next, we've got module 10, which is going to deal with denial of service.